Lebanon has denounced an Israeli airstrike on an unofficial state building, which killed at least 16 people, including the city mayor, and wounded more than 50 people. Israel carried out dozens of strikes on Hezbollah targets, causing widespread destruction in several southern areas of Lebanon. Lebanon says the airstrike was proof that Israel's offensive against Hezbollah was now shifting the target to the Lebanese state. The Lebanese Health Ministry has said the death toll from the Israeli airstrikes on Lebanon since the outbreak of the latest round of Hezbollah-Israel conflict has reached 2,300, while the number of injuries has gone up to 11,000. At a UNSC meet, US said it is watching Israel's actions to ensure that it does not have a policy of starvation in Gaza. And this as Israel claims that more than enough aid has reached the area. US said that such a policy would be horrific and unacceptable and would have implications under international law. This comes after US warned Israel to take steps in next 30 days to improve the humanitarian situation in Gaza or face restrictions. Australian Defence Minister said the country will give 49 of its aging M1A1 Abraham tanks to Ukraine, and this announcement comes months after Kiev requested the redundant fleet. The fleet of US-made M1A1 tanks are valued at $163 million. They will be replaced in Australia by a next-generation M1A2 fleet. Well, M1A2 fleet, according to Maloney, said in February that giving Ukraine the tanks as they were phased out was not on his government's agenda. Maloney said on Thursday he did not regard the donation as a backflip. North Korea has designated South Korea a hostile state, confirming that its National Assembly had amended the country's constitution in line with their leader Kim Jong-un's vow to drop unification as a national goal. Well, near the inter-Korean border, North Korean military blasted sections of roads and rail links with South Korea. The state media, ASP, aired footage of students signing up to enlist in the military. Around 1.4 million youth applied to join or return to the army, blaming Seoul for a provocative drone incursion. Japanese Vice Foreign Minister Masataka Okano held talks with his South Korean counterpart Kim Hong-kyon in Seoul to strengthen bilateral ties and tensions with North Korea. The meeting took place a day after the two senior diplomats met with the US counterpart for talks and strongly condemned the North for intentionally raising tension by claiming the drone intrusion and sealing the southern border. The three officials also announced the launch of a new multinational team to monitor the enforcement of sanctions against North Korea. Taiwan says China test-fired 2 missiles during a day of military drills around Taiwan. The national security official in a briefing said that during the exercises, which lasted for 13 hours, 2 missiles were test-fired into the interior in the 4th round of large-scale drills in just over 2 years. Beijing deployed a record number of military aircraft as well as warships and Coast Guard vessels to encircle Taiwan. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has admitted that his government had presented no hard proof to India over killing of a pro-Khalistani leader. Testifying before the Foreign Interference Inquiry, Trudeau acknowledged that when his government implicated India in Niger's assassination last year, they were acting on weak intelligence rather than a definitive proof. India's Minister of External Affairs has hit back, saying that Trudeau's testimony confirms what New Delhi has been saying from the start, and they have accused Trudeau of damaging India-Canada ties. Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has appointed a new director of Egypt's intelligence service, replacing the long-time chief, who has been a close confidant of the president. The new intelligence chief, Major General Hassan Mahmoud Rashid, takes the place of Major General Abbas Kamel, who has served in the role since 2018. Rashid previously served as a deputy to Kamel, who was appointed as an advisor to and special envoy of Sisi, as well as the General Coordinator of Security Services. The Grand Egyptian Museum started trial operations of its main galleries in Egypt, offering visitors an exclusive preview of 12 curated exhibition halls. The world's first suspended obelisk greets guests at the museum entrance, while inside the majestic Grand Hall houses the colossal statue of King Ramses II, the victory column of King, and the statues of the Ptolemaic King and the Queen. Genaro Garcia Luna, who for several years led Mexico's fight against the country's violent drug trade, has been sentenced to more than 38 years in prison for accepting bribes from the cartels he was supposed to fight with. U.S. District Judge Brian Cogan announced the sentence at a hearing in Brooklyn Federal Court. Garcia Luna was accused of taking millions of dollars in bribes from the Sinaloa cartel, once led by Joaquin Loera, better known as El Chapo. In exchange, he shielded its members from arrest and protected its cocaine shipments. Prosecutors had surged a life sentence for Garcia Luna after he was convicted at a trial in 2023 for engaging in a criminal drug enterprise, taking part in various conspiracies and making false statements. A Georgia Maloney-themed restaurant has opened in Albania. The restaurant, which opened in August, it features 70 portraits of the Italian premier and is located in the vicinity of a camp in Albania where the asylum claims of people seeking entry into the European Union by sea will be processed as a part of a controversial pact promoted by Maloney. The restaurant features not just portraits of Maloney but also her Albanian counterpart, Edi Rama. Heavy rains lashed parts of Oman, flooding roads and causing disruption to daily life. Oman's weather department has warned citizens on social media, saying that further rains were expected in coming days. Weather forecasts indicate continued cloud cover for Thursday, particularly in coastal and mountainous regions of Dhofar, with expected rainfall between 100 mm and 25 mm. Similar conditions are anticipated in the eastern and western Al-Hajar mountains, with some improvements expected on Friday. according to Microsoft's latest digital defense report, North Korean hackers have stolen about $3 billion in cryptocurrency since 2017. Allegedly, the funds are being used to fund North Korea's nuclear and missile programs, covering over half of its nuclear efforts. Microsoft has also identified new hacking groups linked to the regime, such as Moonstone Sleet, Jade Sleet, Sapphire Sleet, and Citrine Sleet. While these groups are increasingly targeting cryptocurrency organizations, Microsoft's analysts have said that the new groups signal North Korea's growing reliance on ransomware to fund its initiatives. The Cybersecurity Association of China has called for a security review on Intel products sold in the country, accusing the US chipmaker of repeatedly harming China's national security. CSAC is a non-profit organization that operates in the cybersecurity field and maintains close connections with the Chinese government, though not an official government. Its stance could rather influence China's cyberspace administration, which has the authority to initiate security reviews. In a statement on its WeChat page, CSAC has urged a thorough review of Intel's products to national security rights and to protect the rights of Chinese consumers. According to a recent media report, several leading AI models are falling short of meeting European regulations in key areas like cybersecurity and bias. A new tool developed in the EU has tested AI models from companies like Meta and OpenAI across multiple categories. This tool assigns scores between 0 and 1 for each model, evaluating factors such as safety and technical robustness. The results showed models from Alibaba, Anthropic, OpenAI, Meta and Mistral all scored 0.75 or higher. The evaluation aligns with the European Union's upcoming AI Act, which will be enforced over the next 2 years. Japan's exports fell for the first time in 10 months in September. This comes as a worry for policymakers, as any prolonged weakness in global demand will delay plans for a further interest rate hike. Soft demand in China and slowing US growth have been cited by experts as a key risk factor for Japan's export-reliant economy. It could complicate the central bank's path towards fully exiting years of ultra-easy monetary policy. A US-based consulting firm called McKenzie is reportedly revamping its China-based business after reducing its government-linked clients and cutting about 500 jobs. This translates to around a third of its China workforce. The company has been separating the China unit from its global operations to reduce security risks with doing business in the country. McKenzie has reduced its workforce in Greater China, including Hong Kong and Taiwan, by hundreds of employees over the past 2 years. In June 2023, the firm had listed nearly 1,500 employees on the Greater China website. China will expand the amount of financing available for housing projects on a white list to $562 billion. This is Beijing's latest moves to reverse a slump in the property industry. Minister of Housing and Urban Rural said that measures will also be taken to redevelop 1 million urban villages across the country. The government has been redoubling efforts in recent weeks to stabilize the real estate market after a downturn triggered by crackdown on excess borrowing. Once a bright spot in China's economy, the property market has since become a drag. Gold prices in India surged to an all-time high of rupees 76,700 per 10 grams, reflecting global trends. The rise comes as US 10-year bond yields dropped below the 4.05% mark, prompting increased demand for safe haven assets like gold. The weakening Indian rupee has also played a major role in pushing gold prices higher. The rupee fell to a record low of 84.04 against the US dollar, making gold imports more expensive. Meanwhile, the ongoing festive season in India has spurred a higher demand for gold, especially for jewelry. With gold deeply rooted in cultural traditions, this seasonal demand is contributing majorly to the price surge.